I've woken up with the sorest migraine right here around my temple, and I want to show you guys what I do to fix it using rehab physical therapy. I've had a lot of history with my neck. It used to be really bad to where I used to not be able to sleep until like 7 in the morning. I was seeing chiropractors twice a week, and none of that really fixed it. Like it would give temporary alleviation, but I'd always feel that my neck would go out of place again, and that's why I had to see my chiropractor so frequently. But what fixed it for me, I started messing around a lot with neck rehab exercises and different concepts of rehab rather than just stretches. I want to share what's worked for me. Now, how these migraines and the pressure build up in the head occurs is that, say your vertebra gets out of alignment and it starts to collapse on the veins and the arteries that come through your neck. And some of the veins even come through the vertebrae. When it gets twisted or out of alignment or something's really tight and tense, it can cause these misalignments. What fixed my neck issues was getting stronger safely through longer ranges of motion of the neck. And how you do that, the first concept that's really important to understand is the short plus long range concept. Now, the short plus long range concept is the short range is a range that's less strenuous, it's more comfortable. And you want to start at this range to accumulate a pump. And then once the pump's accumulated, that pump and that blood is going to help you. It's going to help you get into long range and lean more on these tendons and connective tissues and ligaments. And that's where your real structural adaptation is going to occur. And that's what's going to pull you out of this pain. It also helps with tightnesses, because the best way to fix a tightness is not by stretching, it's by strengthening through a longer range of motion. And then that tissue is adapted to that longer range. And so these tightness issues tends to not be there, because what's tight is the muscle's trying to protect itself. It's trying to get stiff, and it doesn't want to be exposed to that range with that difficulty or that duration or whatever, that weight. And so it's trying to bunch up. So you want to get it stronger and more adapted to that position. And that's what tends to alleviate these joint issues. Something that's really key and important before you do this is you also need a meal beforehand, because your body's not going to, if you try to rehab fasted, and I've done this plenty, the body's not going to have enough energy to produce an effective pump. And the pump is super, super key, because the blood flow, when the pump's there, it makes the tissues more compliant, and you can pull on them more safely with less pain. The blood flow and pump's also an analgesic, so it's a pain reducer as well, whilst the pump's there. So the best thing I found to be a pre-workout meal is some beef with some beef fat and a carbohydrate. I don't find fruit to be good for a pump for whatever reason, but I really like bread and potato. That's what I found. If you just need the bare basics, some salt can be good on that. If you want to go the extra mile, electrolytes, some fruit, salt, water, that's cool. But the meat and the some bread will do you great. The directions you want to start, so my issue's on the side, right? And that's the more sensitive and sore side. And what I figured out is that if you bring a pump to the sides that are less sore, so the front or the other side, but generally the front is better to start with for addressing your neck, because there's more vascularity there, and it's often the most comfortable direction for most people. Very rarely have I came across someone who has a sore front issue. So there's a lot of vascularity, and the vascularity, what I mean is just that there's a lot of vascular tissues, muscle. There's a lot of muscle in that area. Not so much on the backside. There's a way to hit the backside on the sides. I'll show how that's done as well to incorporate that. But what happens when you rehab the front first is just by indirect radius of warmth, the blood is going to come to the area and surround the nearby areas, and it's going to make addressing the sides more comfortable. And you want to do your most sensitive and painful side last in the sequence. So you do the front, short range, longer range. You want to do all this lying down as well, because it's just more comfortable for the neck joint. It's like if you had a dumbbell and you're trying to do curls like that, it's really strenuous on the tendon and connective tissue, and it's more comfortable to do it like this, or even more comfortable to do it like this when getting blood in. And so yeah, it's best to do it lying down. And we're not going to be doing any handstand neck curls, so lying down will do, and that's what's worked for me. Another thing that's really key, and so you'd have a weight on your head, and you're contracting up, and you kind of don't control the way down. Now this concentric only emphasis is what encourages blood flow. That squeezing motion is literally what calls on blood, what squeezes blood to the area. That pumping motion, that's what creates the pump. And the eccentric, the lowering, the controlling, the lengthening under load, that's the more damaging motion. So we can get the right stimulus we need with just concentric only. Like, we don't need the eccentric really, so I always throw that out because it can be too damaging and too much, and this is a sensitive issue, and the way to be safer is to not be so reckless with our reps. And if we just need more adaptation and more damage, we can just do more concentric only reps, and it's safer, it's more blood flow still, like that's all cool. So there's not an issue of like, oh, you're not damaging yourself enough. Like, that argument goes out the window. It doesn't make sense. So you do your front, and then you do your least sensitive side, your most sensitive side last. And that's pretty much it. And when you're on the sides, if you want to hit the trap or the levator scapula, you just kind of do a neck twist as you're on your side as well. And kind of look down towards the ground, and then contract, and that'll stretch this trapezius. Very key mistake to not make is do not go too light when you're doing your weighted curls. When you go too light, it doesn't encourage. You need something that's rigorous and challenging enough so that it calls on the blood flow. And if you go too light, and then when you get into the long range, there's no blood, and you really need that blood in there and that pump there. That's super key for the rehab to go safely and smoothly, because the blood makes the tissues more compliant and more comfortable to be stressed and to receive stress. So you don't want to go too heavy, but you want something that's just kind of a mid difficulty and challenging enough. Go a little bit lighter when you get into the long range, because it will be new. And I don't really go for reps. I just go purely based off feel, and when I feel like the pump is there and peaking, and I pay attention to pain, and I don't really like to count reps. You can use it as a rough guideline, but I don't really like to. I like to go based off feel. That's kind of all. Because you can get strong in like these short ranges, right, where the neck's very stiff, but the real adaptation and the real bulletproofing is when you start getting in these longer positions and really leaning on the connective tissue and getting it to adapt. So all we're doing is using the vascular tissue to get the muscles to get blood deeply into the tendons and the ligaments that hold the vertebra together. And then once we get longer and stronger on all sides, this tends to alleviate the issues. And this is what's always fixed my neck issues. And I've gotten pretty used to now pulling my body out of the trench when it's in pain. I'm a little bit lazy because I still have a lower leg injury, so it's a bit hard for me to build strength. I'm trying not to make excuses, but a way to ensure that this pain doesn't come about again is to build on top of your strength and keep scaling. So that's how I fix my neck issues. I hope this helps you fix your neck issues. Yeah, have a good day.